Hi, I'm Marcus Beer and welcome to the show. It's not really annoyed gamer this week. Morning gamer, distraught gamer, pissed off at the fucking Fates gamer, whichever you prefer. But yeah, obviously something happened last week and we learned about it this week where we lost a great friend in the games industry and a colleague. And I'm not going to call him a peer because he was so far above anything I could ever do that would actually be complimentary to me and not so much to him. But anyway, yes, Ryan Davis from Giant Bomb passed. But so basically, yeah, I sat down with Jeremy Hoffman, who also knew Ryan very well, and we had a conversation about Ryan because it was the right thing to do. So take a look. Okay, so as all of you know, I mean, anybody who's been involved in games or anybody who follows games, I mean, this week has been dominated by one topic, and that was the loss of Giant Bomb's Ryan Davis last week. Ryan is somebody who I've worked with over the years, both in PR and, I've been on the Bombcast as well. He invited me down, at E3. And I brought Jeremy in because Jeremy, you've had Ryan on Bonus Round, you've had him on E3 streams, you've had him, and when you were at G4, you did a lot of stuff with him. I mean, I've known him, I think, for about 10, almost 11 years. You're probably longer than me.
No.
No?
I was in college 10 or 11 years ago.
All right, fuck off. It
was about 8 years ago we started working with those guys. It was it was Ryan Stevens and I actually used to produce a show called Cinematech at G4 and did this show where we had joined G4 and GameSpot had joined forces to create these specials, and it was stuff like the end of the console generation, and we did a fake, Ryan and Jeff pitched a fake funeral, and we built a casket for the Xbox One, the real Xbox One, I should say.
The original.
And did a big focus on the year 1998, like why it was the best game or years for games. And I had met them then, and at that point I really wasn't field producing. I was a studio producer, hadn't traveled a lot, hadn't really met a lot of the industry, knew a lot of the industry, and at that point, Ryan, Jeff, Greg, they were kind of those idols that I'd been reading for years. And then when I met him, they were just so nice. Ryan was the type of guy where he walks into a room and he just brightens up the room. And even if he's being a dick, and not a dick in a bad way, but just being a dick to you, it was like, he was the nicest dick that could be a dick. And it was so much fun. And
well, I remember actually I was listening to the Bombcast this week, and they actually talked about the week they did this partnership with Cinematech, and that the G4 were expecting just a list of videos, and they turned up with this whole bunch of scripts, and they were rewriting some of them the day before shoot, and just how much fun they had doing it. And I think that's the thing. The reason we're all so upset about Ryan Davis is that he was a really nice guy. I mean, he could be a dick to you, and it's the biggest compliment he could pay to you, to be honest with you.
It's like when the sun shines on you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like when you had that spotlight hit you, it's just pure happiness. And he was that guy that, he'd sit there, and I don't know how he would tweet as much as he did and still get the amount of work that he got done.
And the stuff he tweeted, I mean, obviously he was a hell of a DJ. I mean, his musicality is legendary because he was in a band. But I mean, his summer jams, the lists he would tweet from Spotify, and I mean, this is the reason we're also knocked for sticks. I mean, he was 34 years old. I mean, I'm 8 years older than him, and I mean, yeah, he was a big lad. He was a big lad. I mean, he drank and he ate, but he was so full of life, so energetic. He was one of those guys. He never had a bad word to say about anything. I mean, and I use the following term in the most loving way possible. This asshole spent ages on Twitter convincing people that the movie Talk was good, because he could find the smallest nugget of greatness in even the biggest stinking turd, whether it be game, movie, piece of music. And that's the sort of guy he was. And I mean, that's why I want to sit down today, because I do Annoyed Gamer. And Annoyed Gamer is, I can be an asshole. and not a Ryan Davis asshole. He is is way more skilled at it than I was. I mean, and I just sit and bitch and moan. But Ryan could always find that positive, and everybody who dealt with him felt better for knowing him. I mean, I've read a lot of tributes this week and watched a lot of tributes, and the number one thing was that's come out is that Ryan wanted, you felt that you needed his approval. You wanted to impress Ryan.
I remember when he followed me on Twitter, started following me, and I was like, yes, like just so excited because I was
Bastard unfollowed me about a year ago. And I mean, I carried on following him. I don't know why he unfollowed me. I mean, look, my Twitter, as anybody knows, is a law unto itself. But again, we'd have some great conversations. I remember having a text conversation with him just about when Giant Bomb was bought, and merged back into GameSpot, and he was probably getting 100,000 texts from people saying, what's going on, what are you doing? Because we were all concerned because we knew what had gone on with Jeff
previously,
and and then Jeff obviously was gone, and Ryan followed him out the door. Ryan said, "All right, this is where you treat my friend and my colleague. I'm out the door too," and they went and found a Giant Bomb. Who does that? I mean, who does that where it's like, you know what, I'm downing tools on the job I love, and I am out the fucking door because you dicked around my friend. I mean, that sort of solidarity and friendship is unfortunately rare. But yeah, we were having the conversation, and he was having a laugh with me. He was like, "Oh, don't worry, they're taking care of us," and it was just really nice. And then the one time I got on the Bombcast, he invited me down E3 2 years ago, and so he texted me the directions, and I got a MapQuest. And I'm like, this can't be right, because I'm driving into this neighborhood. This neighborhood made downtown Fallujah look like Beverly Hills. And I'm driving. I'm like, no, this can't be it. Because I thought, they'll have they've rented a house. Yeah. It'll at least be,
have four walls.
Have four walls and a ceiling. Which actually, to be fair, it did. But I eventually pulled up outside this house, and I'll call it a house, I'll be charitable. And we go in, and there's it's almost like a scene from The Godfather where they say, we're going to the mattresses, because that's what it was. I mean, there was a room, a living room with a ratty-ass couple of couches, and then you'd see the bedrooms, and the bedrooms would just be mattresses. And, they had all their tech stuff, and then they had the kitchen with not only the biggest fridge I've ever seen full of booze, but also coolers full of booze and junk food. And then there was this basement that was locked. Nobody had the key for, but we'd stand around the basement door, and the smell wafting up. And it was the sort of place that, look, I said, fuck it, I'm out of here. If I had to go stay here for a couple of days, I'm sorry, I'm going to upgrade and go get a hotel.
Or sleep on a corner.
Yeah. Sleep in a trolley. But Ryan, and Ryan and the boys, they were just like, yeah, it's shit, isn't it marvelous? And then he sat behind this console, looking like this almost like this Daft Punk caricature behind this maze of consoles and screens. And he was like, all right, headphones are on. Are we ready? Has everybody got enough beer? Make sure you got enough beer. So we'll have the beers in front of you and the open beers and everything. So he wanted everybody to have a good time. I mean, he was a bon vivant. He was a raconteur. He was irreverent and not irrelevant, because somebody tweeted at me this week, oh, do you call him irrelevant? No, I fucking didn't. Irreverent. I mean, he just had this lust for life, and he was what's good about the games industry.
Yeah, it's the thing. I mean, I've got in this fight in the office and argument and talk to people multiple times, and it's the issue I often complain about on Twitter is that everyone takes this industry so serious. And there's a way to treat things seriously, but to still have fun with it. And we know, it's video games, right? This isn't a real war. This isn't politics. This isn't
this isn't real life.
But you could
putting food
treat
on
it.
The table.
You could treat it like it's a job. You could treat it seriously and still have fun and be informative and do it. And to me, Ryan, he was the guy. He was the guy to look to.
Yeah.
For that, what I would like the rest of the industry to be. And I'm not saying that there's not room for criticism. I don't want people to think that, but it's just if more people in this industry were like Ryan and the Giant Bomb guys as a whole, I think we'd be in a better place.
Yeah, I mean that's the that was the one of the other that is one of the great things about this industry, and we are unfortunately at a cusp that we're moving into a stage where yes, you have to have six-pack abs, or you have to have a tight little waist, to be an attractive woman, or have a great set of teeth to be perceived as somebody is who can make a success of themselves in the media side. I would take one Ryan Davis over 10,000 of those leeches, as I like to think of them, who bring nothing to the industry and just are there to solely cash a paycheck. For Ryan, it was a vocation. It was a calling. I mean, he was an entertainer as well. I mean, I've never seen anybody throw himself into sketches, the most bizarre sketches. And, you could say that some of the Giant Bomb stuff and the early, or the late cycle, of the GameSpot stuff they did, that paved the way for the Mega 64s of this world and the Hey Ashes, because, he was out there, he'd dress up and he would just do it with no shame and this lust for life and just enjoyment that is hard to beat. And we've lost somebody really special, way too young. And look, I'm going to wrap it up here before, I'm holding it in. He's doing a lousy job of holding it in.
Barely holding it in.
But when we say Giant Bomb family, I mean, those guys are a family. And, I've had the pleasure of sitting in a room with them drinking and just talking and just watching how they interact. And so, commiserations and condolences to the Giant Bomb family. Condolences to, and I believe I'm saying this, his widow. He got married, 3 days before, 4 days before?
The weekend before.
Yeah, weekend before. And the pictures we saw on Twitter, he was so happy, and he was just, it's the way we'd all want to remember him, and to his parents and his family. And to everybody who watched him on the Bombcast. And if you've never watched something with Ryan Davis in, you're doing yourself a disservice, because his enthusiasm was infectious. And, just go to Giant Bomb. Check out the Bombcast. Check out all the random shit. Just go and look up Tazwell on Twitter and just go back and look at all the summer jams he put out and look at some of the pictures he put out over the years and the videos and his recommendations. Like I said, the talk conversation is epic. I mean, this is a guy who, we don't know if he got to see White House Down, but he would have loved White House Down, because that is just this, his sense of humor. So anyway, Ryan, we miss you. We're going to be raising lots of drinks to you, I think, over the coming couple of months. Gone way too soon. And, just, hey, love you, brother.
We will definitely miss you, and it's going to be I'm gonna miss him for this console generation switchover, because he was one of those guys I was really looking forward to really kind of shine a spotlight on some of the highlights and lowlights.
Of which there will be many.
Yes.
So yeah, that went on a little longer than I think we planned, but it was very cathartic for both Jeremy and myself. We needed to say it, and we needed to share it with you guys. So anyway, it's ironic that this week has been quite busy in terms of cannon fodder for a regular Annoyed Gamer show. Hell, last week, I mean, I was on pre-record for 4th of July weekend, and I missed out on Don Matrick going to Zynga. So let me just cover that up right now. Good riddance to bad rubbish. I think he's perfectly suited there, and he's earning his, $15 to $19 million a year. I mean, yeah, more power to him. Good luck. Go off and be always on with Zynga. On the subject of Xbox One, the change.org petition this week to force Microsoft to go back to the original specs for Xbox One and not let the trolls win, that had a measly, I think, 385 signatures. To the little smeghead who started that, shut the hell up. Xbox One in its original concept was a bad idea. Not everybody's ready for always on. Not everybody is ready for DRM. Maybe 3-4 years down the line, it will be viable. Until then, shut the fuck up, you entitled little toe rag. I'm sick of people like you using change.org, which was basically designed to put petitions out there to change the world in better ways and change this country in better ways, to keep on putting your dumbass petitions up there. Stay away from change.org. Don't waste everybody else's time with your inane petitions. Microsoft have finally seen sense, because the majority majority of gamers aren't ready for always on. They don't have a killer internet connection. You might be sitting in a very happy place with semi T1 line coming in. Good for you. Not everybody's in that boat. And gaming is for everybody, okay? It's a great escape, especially from the shitty fucking world we all live in right now. And then finally, Nintendo. Nintendo and Super Smash Bros. Melee and the EVO fighting tournament. Nintendo said, oh no, you can't go and stream Smash Bros. Melee, which is quite an old game. Don't know why they did it. They kind of backtracked on it, and the details are a little sketchy. It's going to be there. I'm not sure if it's going to be streaming or not. If it is, great. Nintendo, get with the program, for God's sake. Get rid of your PR people. Get rid of the people who make these policies. Get in the 21st century. I mean, you did not need this screw up to happen, to be honest with you. You should have just come out and said, yes, we love to partner with you. Yes, this is a great thing. The fact that you've raised money for breast cancer research to put this game in, fantastic. You know what? We're going to bring the new Super Smash Brothers game, and we're going to have pods there, and we're going to, we'll show a little teaser trailer, and, we'll unveil maybe a character that isn't the friggin' Wii Fit instructor. But no, it's Nintendo. They're still stuck in 1999. This is what I'm going to talk about on the next Annoyed Gamer. I was going to talk about it today. I was going to talk about Animal Crossing and how it's a microcosm of what's really quite wrong with Nintendo. But I'm going to do that in my next episode because obviously more important things happened and very tragic things. 34 years of age is not an acceptable age for a great person to die. Ryan Davis, he was a great man with a great heart. And yeah, that's the show for this week. Annoyed Gamer will be back next week, and I will be annoyed. And yeah, later.